What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to part 2 of this N54 rebuild. So I have all my rings laid out, and basically what I'm doing with this gauge here is verifying what ring is what. So right here, this is the smaller ring. This is going to be the top ring. You have a top ring, you have a second ring, and then you have your oil rings. So basically what I'm showing you here is trying to get it to focus, but there is an orientation for the top and second ring. There's a little, I don't know if you can tell, a little writing on there, and that's the side that you want. Yeah, right there, that's the side that you want pointed upwards towards the top of the piston. Can only go one way because there are little grooves in the pistons which help control the oil. So right here it looks like we have this is the second ring. It's a little bit thicker, and again there you can see it a little bit better on this ring right here, but there's the marking. That's the side that goes up. And then over here, this is going to be our oil control ring. It's a series of 3 rings. You got this accordion style ring, and then you have these 2 really thin rings which basically they sandwich the whole thing together. As you can see here, this is on these, actually it doesn't matter which orientation these go in. There's no markings on them. They can go either way, it doesn't matter. So you'll have thin ring on the bottom, the accordion style ring in the middle, and the other thin ring is going to go right on top, and that's how it's going to look. So I've got everything laid out here. What I'm going to do is, the way I start off with this is I'm going to be filing the rings. So I'll be inserting the ring into the cylinder wall just to set it in straight. I take the piston upside down, press it in, push down on the ring, and that should make it pretty level. So I have all the pistons laid out here, cylinders 1 through 6, and I'm going to be gapping these rings to 17 thousandths of an inch. That's just what it calls for on this build. You might have 18 thousandths or 20 thousandths. Alright, so let's get to it. I'm going to go start off with cylinder 1, and I'll show you through the process.
So we're going to start with our top ring right here. I start with my top ring because I always set my second ring 0.004 to 0.008 larger than this ring here. So I'll slide this in here. Grab the piston. I can stick my feeler gauge through the gap and see where we're at. So right now it looks like it's set to 0.010. So definitely need to make that gap bigger. I want to be at 0.017 for this build here. Again, don't go off of my numbers. Everybody's build is going to be different, but 0.017 is what I'm going for. And then my second ring, I'll make about 0.020 we have our ring set in there. I have it filed down. As you can see here, I'm using the 17 thousandths. And it slides right through there nice and easy. I have my 18 thousandths here just to double check. That does not fit. So we are on the 17 thousandths of an inch for my top ring. Now I can pull this out. We can set it down here, that one's set, and we can begin with our second ring. And this ring here, I'm going to be gapping it 0.004 to 0.008 larger than my top ring right there. So I just placed my second ring in there. I checked the gap and it is at, as you can see, it's in there, 0.021, so that's exactly where we need it. Okay, so we got cylinder 1 through 6 over here. I gapped all of my top rings. My second rings were actually dead on from factory. I didn't have to change or do any gapping on them, but I did gap these here. Those are all the top rings. I did assemble this piston here. Just made sure everything went in fine, so that's good. I'm going to walk you guys through how I assemble the rest of them here, and then throw the rods on them, and then we can set them in the block. Alright, so now that we have pretty much everything ready to assemble the pistons, I already went ahead and put together a cylinder 1 with the rod. I threw it in the block, just make sure, you know, everything is working good. Unfortunately, my piston tool took a shit. This is the only other one I have. This is like horrible. It sucks. It doesn't compress all the rings properly, so it's gonna take me a little extra time to set the piston in. I gotta like use my fingers. I got a flat head. I gotta be careful not to damage the rings, but you gotta work with what you have. So I got cylinder 1 in. I'm gonna go ahead and assemble piston number 6, and I'll walk you through how I do it. Alright, first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna put our little snap ring in right here. These are a pain in the ass to put in. that is snapped in place where it needs to be. Now we'll go ahead and start doing the rings. So the first one I'm going to be doing is this here, your oil ring. That's going to go right at the bottom. Next we have our sandwich rings. We're going to have one that goes at the bottom of this and at the top right there. Doesn't matter which way it faces up on these. So we'll start with the bottom. Be very careful, these are very thin and you don't want them to break. There we are, bottom one is in. Keep track of where the opening is for that. Where did it go? Right there I have the opening. So you want to do about 180 degrees for the opening on the one that goes on top. So right there. Okay, so that is our oil ring assembly. Opening at the bottom ring is right there. At 180 degrees we have the opening for our top ring right there. Now I'm going to go 90 degrees off of these, or the top one, which would be right about there. And we're going to insert our second ring. Take note, the lettering goes facing upwards. That will go in that groove right there. There we go. That one is in. And then 180 degrees from this second ring, it's going to put us right here. We're going to put our top ring. Again, lettering goes up. There we go. So we have all of our rings set in place. We will flip this over. I'm going to throw some assembly lube onto here. That. Some on the other side. I'm gonna get my rod ready. The way I do it, these are your exhaust reliefs and your intake reliefs. Your intake reliefs are gonna be the larger ones. So the way I assemble these, I'm on the intake side of the block. So I'm gonna have this piston set like this. And it doesn't matter which orientation you put the rods, but my OCD is telling me to put the Molnar symbol facing towards the front of the motor. So that's gonna go in like that. I'm gonna go ahead and unbolt these, clean the bolts, and get this ready. Now, I'm gonna throw some assembly lube on our wrist pin. Flip this over. Start inserting. Go. Wipe off the excess right here. And then now we have the fun part of putting in our lock ring once again into here. Goes. So we are locked in now. Now I can grab the rod bearings. I'll put my rod bearing in there. I'll put the cat bearing in there, and we'll get this. Actually, we already have two. We have cylinder 1 and 6 in, so we'll just assemble the rest of these here. I'll put you on a time lapse. Go from there. Alright, we're gonna make sure we are properly lubed. I got my little squirter right here. Just gonna right in there. Give her the old 2-finger spin around the cylinder. Make sure she's good. Just so you guys see what I'm using. We got this AMS oil, brake-in oil. I use this to coat most of the parts along with the Ultra Slick engine assembly lube, but this is also what we use for the first start. Now we'll take our piston, make sure she's all lubed up. Grab our shitty little piston tool. Again, I'm standing on the intake side of the motor. I have my rod facing forward so that the larger reliefs are towards the intake. Probably slide this on first. That's what I'm saying. This is like such a shitty freaking thing. Jesus Christ. One more thing I'm gonna do. Forgot. Since there's not too much room to work, I'm gonna go ahead and lube this bearing. Now, slide this in. Hey. What?
Those two bags of microfibers, one was yours, one was for shops.
Yeah, that was mine, the one that was in there.
Because somebody grabbed this and technically opened it. But there should be another one. It's not full though. But there should have been a couple in there.
Give it a little love tap. I'm just kind of using my fingernail to squeeze the rings in, since that tool that I have is absolutely worthless. Just wiggle it, it slides down. There we go. It's in. It takes a little bit. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but it works. It gets the job done. So now that we have this done, we'll flip her over.
Oh, you got it in. No pain in the ass.
Yeah, this freaking that thing is horrible.
Yeah.
So now I have the piston pulled up. Grab some lube. And I'm putting that right onto the crank. Lube it up a little bit. We already got some on the bearing, so we're set there. Now we'll grab the cap. I've got my bolts right here. These are the ARP bolts. These came with the rods, so they also included, we'll put some at the bottom and at the head.
It is a different style.
And then I'm not going to torque them yet. They're just going to get snugged down. Once I have all the pistons and rods in, then we'll do the torque sequence on them. Kind of want to go down evenly. There. Right there. Perfect. That's it. We'll flip her over. Now we're going to work on cylinder 2. So just going to turn the crank so that cylinder 2 is at the bottom. Right there. We're gonna torque our rod caps now per Molnar spec, 25 foot-pounds, 55 degrees. So set up 25 foot-pounds. Alright, so we are all set, we are all torqued down, our rotating assembly is complete. Alright guys, thanks for watching part 2. We're complete with the rotating assemblies all done. Rods, pistons are in. Part 3 is coming up. We're going to be putting our timing guides, our chains, tensioners, our oil pump, oil pan. Start doing some gasket work. So don't forget, be sure to subscribe, like, share this. This is going to help my channel a lot. We're almost at that 1,000 subscriber mark. So hopefully things start taking off from here. We've got a lot of other builds.